video, I'm going to talk to you about your shelter and your comfort, especially while you are sleeping. But before I go into all that, let me explain what Camping 101 is. Camping 101 is basically for beginners, those who always wanted to go camping but just don't know how to get started. So if you haven't already done so, check out my first video, Camping 101, episode 1, that talks about selecting a campsite. Just click on that thing right up there and that will take you to that video. So shelter refers to what it is that you're going to be staying in while you're camping, and you have a lot of choices. So you can sleep in a tent, you can sleep without a tent, or you could sleep in a hammock. So let's talk about the different variations, the pros and cons, and why you would choose one over the other. When you're buying a tent, there are 3 things you need to consider. 1 is functionality, 2 is budget, and 3 is aesthetics. So functionality. What are the features you're looking for in a tent? Some campers, especially backpackers, prefer very small tents. They are just using it for basically sleeping, get in, get out, and go on with their day. And other people actually prefer a mid-sized tent. Of course, this also depends on how many people will be sleeping in it, but you could choose tents from 2 people, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 10. I think 12 people are the maximum. And so this tent you're looking at right now, this is a 10-person tent with their own rooms. This one actually has 3 rooms, and this is great for a family. But stay tuned until the end of the video to find out why I actually prefer a 6-person tent just for me and my dog. I actually have very good reasons. Another thing is some tents are really low, like about this high. And there are some tents that are 6 feet high in the middle. So do you want to be able to stand up in your tent, or it doesn't matter to you? So with function, you also need to consider temperature. There are tents that take cold weather into consideration, and they are designed for that, while the rest of the tents, they're just basically tents. So we have size, we have height. Does it have windows, enough doors? Those are just small things, but you know they might be important to you. Now, besides that, you have the second thing, which is budget. How much money do you want to spend? And then finally, aesthetics. So I would say this is probably the least important, but it is important to a lot of people. What do you want your tent to look like? You might prefer certain colors, a certain look to it. So there are all these different things you can consider. The main thing is you're going to buy one tent that is going to last you a very long time. So just, do your research and just choose one tent that really suits you. This is what I prefer. I like my tent to be tall enough so that I could stand up inside, so it would be about 6 feet high. I also like it to be spacious enough so that I can feel comfortable, me and my dog and all my things. And just in case it's raining outside, I can actually stay inside my tent and cook my dinner and feel comfortable. This tent I have, it cost me only $60. This is a 6-person tent, and it has lasted over a year and a half. I still have it, but I have moved on to this tent that you can see. This is actually a 3-season tent. As you can see, you could take the top off and then it's completely see-through, and it's just gorgeous from the inside out. But if you put the top on, it completely seals everything, and it is really great even in extremely cold weather. This cost me about $200, and I think it was well worth it. Now, as far as what you're going to sleeping in or on, obviously sleeping bags are very, very useful. When we're talking about sleeping bags, you need to remember this very important thing. Sleeping bags will not make you warm. They will keep you warm. So you do not want to get into your sleeping bag where you feel cold and now you're expecting to warm up, because that is not going to happen. You need to get into that sleeping bag when you feel very comfortable, your body temperature is up, and that bag will retain your heat. So what are things you can do? If you have a campfire, stand close to it, warm up. If you have a heater, turn it on and be warm. Feel very, very warm before you get into that sleeping bag. If you don't have any of these, you could do some jumping jacks or different things like that. And I'm being serious, because you need to raise your body temperature, and then you get inside, and then it will retain your body heat. Now, besides sleeping bags, you can sleep on a cot. The positives of sleeping on a cot are, one, you're not directly on the ground, so you're probably not going to be as cold because you have some air between you and the ground. And two, it feels more like sleeping on a bed. The negatives would be that you have limited space. So I myself probably wouldn't like it, because I toss and turn when I sleep, and I don't think I would be that comfortable. As you can see, the prices vary. Some are lower price, but some are quite expensive. So before you make a big purchase, make sure you try it out for a couple of nights, and then make a decision whether a cot is for you. I have to be honest and admit that I have never slept in a hammock. But here are the positives of sleeping in a hammock. For one, you could set it up almost anywhere, as long as you have 2 trees to suspend it from. So that means you don't have to look for an even level ground. A hammock also packs up very, very nicely. You need a sleeping bag, but that's all you need. I would say a hammock is probably a huge favorite for backpackers, and for those who are camping in unusual situations where they probably would not find a level ground. So how do you make your sleeping arrangements more comfortable? So the way I sleep now is I have a mattress, a blow-up mattress. I have a couple of sleeping bags. I have a blanket, pillows, and that is how I like to camp now. As far as your comfort, let's talk about how cold it is out there. So you may or may not want to invest in a heater. So I'm going to show you the heater I have. It's basically kind of expensive. I guess it depends how you look at it. It was about $70. And you could buy these little green bottles of fuel to go in it, and it will give you 4 to 6 hours of heat every night, and it is pretty good. Now, what I ended up doing was, because I camp so much, I buy these big propane tanks, and they are a lot cheaper, and they will last several weekends, and I don't have to wake up in the middle of the night because the fuel is gone. So that is the way I like to do that now. I want to add this, and this is very important. Technically, you are not supposed to have a heater in your tent, which kind of doesn't make sense, right? Because you don't want to be cold, that's why you buy a heater. But if you do decide to have one, you need to make sure that there is enough ventilation and air circulation going on. So make sure your tent is not completely sealed, there is an airflow going through. Number 2, you need to make sure that you leave enough space between your heater and your tent wall, and between you and your heater. So that is the reason why I like to have a bigger tent. And as you can see, I actually have my heater on a crate, so the heat is not really going directly towards my mattress, it's actually going directly towards myself. In these videos, I'm only talking about tent camping, but with a car. So I am not talking about camping in a camper, because it's a totally different subject. You basically have everything with you. And I am also not talking about backpacking. Backpacking is a very different type of camping. You're basically looking at everything as far as bulk or weight, and you're making some tough decisions of what to take, what not to take. You might have to invest some more money to make sure that you got everything you need and not have to carry too much weight. So car camping refers to not sleeping in a car, but it means that you're actually driving in your car to your destination, so you can basically carry as much as you want. For example, in my situation, I have tables and chairs and a mattress that blows up, heater, propane tank, things like that. So this is what I'm talking about. I would love to hear your opinion, so leave me a comment and tell me what would be important to you in a tent as far as size, looks, or functionality is concerned. Thank you so much for watching. I'm hoping that you will make that camping trip sometime very soon, because there's nothing better than getting away from reality and just pack up and spend a weekend in the mountains. So do it by yourself, do it with your friends, do it with family, it does not matter. Just go up at least for one night and just see how you would like it. And don't forget to subscribe.